Well, here it is, Monday afternoon. I'm going to tell you a story that's going to be difficult for me to tell because I don't know enough about the situation. But I think I can get the point across to you till you'll understand. But first, I just finished my bowl of potato soup. I haven't made potato soup in a long time. And I made it this time for a special reason. Jan and I went to Louisville yesterday to visit her daughter, Jessica, and we went to church with her. We had a really good day, and there was just one little problem. Jan has a trouble with her mouth. She's got some sort of infection on her lips. Her lips are swollen, they're very dry, flaky. It's not a pretty picture to see, and it's painful for her. She has to be so careful about what she eats. Nothing spicy, hot, peppery. Oh, it just burns like fire, she says. So she's got 2 or 3 medications she's been using. And I've been very, very concerned because we don't know what the condition is. And, in this day and time, everything is serious, very serious. So, today, I knew we were going to be going to Corbin tomorrow. She's taking me down for the day. And I thought, well, we'd be at my sister's house. I'll make this potato soup, and maybe she'll be able to eat it because it doesn't have anything chunky in it that's hard to chew. And I was trying to avoid any spices that might burn her lips. So this is something she can actually drink out of a cup if she wants to. So I just finished it. I like it. I'm just hoping it works for her. So her appointment at the doctor was this afternoon, and before she left, I said, ask the doctor if you can use cortisone cream. I have used it for certain conditions, and it just might work. So she called me after she had her appointment, and things went fairly well. The doctor examined her, and she said he gave her a prescription for cortisone. And she said, I didn't ask him for it. He told me he was going to write a prescription for cortisone. And I thought, well, gee, Mom, you got it right this time. So we're going to see how that works. I'm hoping it improves her condition. It's not something we're used to seeing. And anyway, we'll see how that goes. And I just want to ask one little favor. Would you give her a little prayer until we find out what is wrong with her lips? So, okay, I'm going to go from there. And I'm going to tell you a story that's not easy to tell because I do not know enough about the subject matter. I'm going to start this way. It was about 1965. My mother was over in her rocking chair doing her crocheting. My dad across the room reading the newspaper as usual. Of course, this was after supper. And he dropped the newspaper down and he says, Ma, do you know anybody named Frank Byron Rowlett? She said, yeah. He's my first cousin. Why are you asking? Well, there's an article in the Louisville newspaper about him. Well, what in the world did he do? Well, President Johnson just presented him with a check for $100,000. $100,000 for what? He broke the Japanese code during World War II. That was 20 years before. This was classified information, very secret. Nobody knew anything about this for 20 years, and finally they decided they could release the information. Now, the reporters were there asking all sorts of questions. They were trying to get biographical information from Frank, and no, he was a closed-mouthed person. He was not revealing anything more than his name and identification numbers. So they said the invention was a cypher machine. Now, any of you who read up on military material and have read about one war after another and about breaking codes, you know what I'm talking about. He had invented a code-breaking machine. Now, let me see. The reporters, or the Secret Service, said to the reporters, this is the most secret thing that has ever happened, more secretive than anything in Secret Service. This man is a genius on the same order of Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell. Now, they were talking about my mother's first cousin. They grew up together in East Tennessee and Southwest Virginia. Frank Byron Rowlett grew up in Rose Hill, Virginia. Now, you people in Virginia should be very proud of this man for what he did during World War II. Now, I'm going to ask you, well, I was going to read the article that was in the newspaper, but I've already told you the main things. Let's see. It says, Rowlett was the man who 25 years ago broke the Japanese code. Among other direct results was America's victory in the Battle of Midway in June 1942, the turning point of the war. Now, when I say that, it might remind you of something. Did you ever watch the movie? It was made about 1978 with Charlton Heston called Battle at Midway. I've seen that movie time and time again, and it's usually shown around 4th of July, Veterans Day, anything that had to do with a military holiday. That's when you would see Battle at Midway. Now, the point of this movie was the Japanese were planning an attack on the United States. Now, they had already bombed Pearl Harbor. That was December 7th, 1941. This was June 1942. So the Americans had to find out if it was an island, military base. They knew they were planning an attack, but they couldn't figure out where. So they were able to decipher the Japanese codes. And someone in the military said, let's try this. They keep talking about their attack on purple, the color purple. But where is purple? What would that be? Okay, let's send a message to Midway. They're getting they'll get this message. And we'll send a special message to Midway and tell them to ask us to send drinking water. They were running low on drinking water on the island. So they went through that process. They did their coding message back to the United States and asked for them to send drinking water to Midway. Okay, the Japanese picked up that code, and with my cousin's code-breaking machine, he was able to decipher the code. And they were planning to attack the island called Purple. They said the Americans at Purple are asking for drinking water. That was it. That was it. Now they knew the attack that the Japanese had planned, so they were ready for them. This is what they called the turnaround of the war. In other words, thousands of lives were being saved. So this was due to the invention of the cypher machine. Now, what I have read, the people working under Frank Byron Rowlett were Native American. And in the story, it says they never made a mistake. In fact, I've got the book called The Story of Magic. You see the man right here? That's my cousin, Frank Byron Rowlett. That's President Johnson. Down here is a picture of him years later and his son, Thomas Rowlett. And they're looking at a cypher machine at the museum in Washington, D.C. Now, I remember going to family reunions, and I only remember one when our cousin was there. And everybody, of course, then knew he was more or less a celebrity to us because he was an important man in Washington. The award he received here was the, wait just a minute, let me get my note here and see what it is. Wouldn't you know I'd goof up. He was receiving the National Security Award. The National Security Award is the highest award given to anyone. During the years, he had received 10 special awards. And looking at the book, there are pictures in this book that show the military. Oh, Allen Dulles, President Eisenhower, all sorts of pictures. And this man is being credited with his invention. If you went to Washington, D.C. today, you would see, well, you have to cross over into Maryland. There's a building there called the Frank Byron Rowlett Building. The National Security Award today is given every year to someone, the highest honor that you can ever receive. And it's called the Frank Byron Rowlett National Security Award. He is also listed in a military Hall of Fame. Now, this book was sent to me by his son. I talked to him on the phone, and it was sent, well, I'll put it this way. My mother was in the nursing home in 1998, and she died July 1998. Frank died either 3 weeks before or 3 weeks after my mother did. It was 2 months later that his book, The Story of Magic, was published. So this young man sent me a copy of the book. And inside the book, I happen to have 2 copies. This is not the one that has his signature stamped. Instead of his handwritten signature being handwritten, it is stamped inside the book because he had been dead 2 months when it was published. Now, I'm very proud of this book. I've tried to read it, but a lot of it I don't understand. Because when you're talking about cypher machines and breaking codes, you're way out of my realm of thinking. But I wanted you to know about this because it happened during World War II, an error soon to be forgotten because there won't be anybody around to tell you about it. And one of the most important men during that era was my mother's first cousin, Frank Byron Rowlett. So that's sort of what you call a connection to claim of fame. Everybody who's doing their genealogy is hoping to come across that ancestor that's in a history book. That ancestor who was very popular. That ancestor who was a celebrity, movie star, great singer, an actor. Yeah, I'd like to have said something like that about myself, but oh well. I remember a lady coming in my office one day, and she too, like me, was working on her family history. And she started rambling about her ancestors and naming off who they were, one after the other, as if it mattered to me who they were, but to her, they were important figures in history. And she could go back to, I'm going to say, the year 1300 BC with her family history. Well, would you believe that? I couldn't get past the Atlantic Ocean because I didn't know how to find any of my ancestors in Europe. Anything I could find would be in libraries in the United States. So after 1700, that's where my ancestry started. I couldn't go back to 1500 and 1300 and AD or BC. And I thought, nobody can do that, because you have situations like I had in my family. There were two men named McNess. Now, that's not a common name, you'll have to admit. One was the uncle, the other was the nephew. Now, I descend from one of those. Which one? The uncle. But somewhere along the line, someone's doing their family history, and they get the names crossed. And my name gets put over under the nephew. You know what that means? Instead of my family history going down this trail, it's going down this trail. I'm not who I thought I was. And it happens every day, and even on the websites where you're working with cousins and all, you warn them about doing things like that, getting birth dates wrong, which puts you under the wrong ancestor, and your family history is not what you thought it was. So that's just a little reminder in case you are doing your own family history. You've got to make sure those dates are correct, birth and death dates, and their names, who their father was. So I'm leaving you with that, but I did want you to know about the book and the color purple. There's a movie called The Color Purple, but it sure doesn't have anything to do with American history and the military. So, I'll give you another look. Let's see, there's another picture. Let's see what this says. Cryptologic. These words aren't easy to pronounce sometimes. Cryptologic pioneer and inventor Frank B. Rowlett was the first cryptanalyst recruited by the U.S. War Department when the Signal Intelligence Service was formed in 1930. He excelled in the cryptanalysis of machine ciphers and was the inventor of the important cryptographic principles used in the cipher machine jointly developed by the U.S. Army and Navy prior to World War II. From 1936 to the beginning of World War II, he was cryptanalyst in charge of the U.S. Army group responsible for breaking Japanese diplomatic codes and ciphers, including the purple machine. I'm not going to read any more than that, but if you get a chance and you're interested in world history, see if you can find this book. It's expensive, but you might find a used book on Amazon. And if you are interested in military history, you'll definitely want this book. This book was published in 1998. One of the most important men in American history was my mother's first cousin, Frank Byron Rowlett. Now, sounds like I'm bragging, doesn't it? Wouldn't you brag? Yeah, I think you would. So, let's see. What was it I read in one of my comments? I was trying to remember something one lady said I should do, and I thought, lady, you're crazy if you think I can do that. So I don't remember what it was. It was no big deal, but I thought, she's suggesting I do something like that. Whoa, she's got faith in me, no doubt about that. See my flower arrangement behind me? That's my poppies. Well, this may not be the best side for them, but I've got it in an old silver plate water pitcher. I cleaned that pitcher one time. Well, I don't want to do that again, I'll tell you now. I'm not going to be a collector of sterling silver because I'm too lazy to clean the stuff. It takes elbow grease to clean sterling silver. And after having cleaned this little pot right here, it sat where it got a lot of sun, and it went right back to its color it is now. But I kind of like that. I like the old look of the silver. So I'm going to leave it just like it is, and the flower arrangement seemed to fit in it pretty good. I've got several flower arrangements. I just switch from one to another. They just stay lined up in my bedroom. Nobody goes in my bedroom to see anything anyway. And I just go in and pick up a flower pot. If the color of the pot's right for the situation, that's the one that gets put in the middle of my dining table. I'm still working on what to do with my fostoria. I really don't want to box it up, but it looks like I'm going to have to do that with most of it. I'm going to spread it out throughout the living room and dining area, put it in my china cabinet, got a whole bunch in front of my window, and right behind me, I'm working on doing a display on top of this, I don't know what kind of cabinet you call it, but it's a storage cabinet for me, right nice looking. Now, I've got to get ready to go to Corbin in the morning, and folks, I'm going to come back looking different. This hair is going to get something done to it. I'm going to get a new perm, and the lady that's going to do the perm, she's good. I like her work. So Jan's going to drive me down, and we're going to see if we can't find a Goodwill or a thrift shop somewhere along the way. She's been having really good luck lately with her buying in mostly estate sales. She has good contact, and this is good for Jan. It keeps her busy. You see, her husband died a couple of years ago, and she was forced out of her job during the pandemic, and there she was. She was old enough to retire, so what are you going to do? You live out in the country, got 2 dogs. You can't play with dogs all the time. So she got her a booth in an antique mall. She's very good at picking her material that she sells. And let's see, she also sells vintage clothing. Oh my, I wish you could see some of the dresses and coats, beautiful coats. And I think, of course, most of them are size 6 and 8. And I think, oh, to be able to wear that coat. I'd wear it in the summertime, it's so pretty. So she's doing very well with her sales in antiques, and it keeps her busy, keeps her happy, and every now and then she lets me trail along behind her. But I've reached the point I can't buy anymore because I don't have any place to put it. So whatever you see on my tables, in my kitchen, some pretty little gloves or purses or something I pulled out of a bottom dresser drawer. I've had those things a while, and I'm just dying to add things to them, but the drawer's full, the cabinet's full, the boxes are under the bed. I can't get any boxes under my couch. Too low. So here I am, wanting to buy more antiques. So I'm going to have to resolve to working with what I have. And you may see the same thing displayed 2 or 3 times, but maybe I can create a new story each time about these items. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to have another bowl of potato soup. Now I put a celery and onions. I saute celery and onions, and I add to my potato soup. And I also add a can of cream of chicken soup. I get the cans that have the herbs in it. If you can find them, they're hard to find. You know something that bothers me? The cans have gotten so small that when you're quoting a recipe and you say one large can of tomatoes, you know what that large can of tomatoes it looks like now? It looks like this. It's that tall, just that tall. Look there. That's the largest can. Well, you can get those great big cans that restaurants use, but we don't need those. But I'm wondering, how do you measure things for your recipe nowadays when they've changed the measurement in all of the containers? If you say a quart of milk, you bring home a bottle of milk. There's not 16 ounces, 24 ounces. How much is a quart? Yeah, 24 ounces. There's not 24 ounces in that bottle. There's not 16 ounces in that cream cheese or something like that. No, cream cheese still comes in 8-ounce packages. They just up the price instead of lowering the quantity. You know what I'm talking about. I don't have to tell you all this stuff. You're very familiar with it yourself. So I'm taking potato soup with me tomorrow. That's what we're going to have for lunch, I think, if Jan can eat it. And if her lips, oh, they look so bad. I can't describe. She's such a pretty girl, but her lips have swollen. Well, it looks like she's had a Botox treatment, almost. Except hers are broken and dry and peeling. Her lips are peeling. I don't know if you've ever had anything like that or not. But if you have, and you've had treatment and got it healed, let me know. I want to make sure she's getting proper treatment for this, because it could be a very serious situation. I'm going to let you go now. And I'm going to go back to reading my comments. Oh, they're just so much fun. And folks, I'm making money now. Can you believe that? I am making money. I just started. It was hard to get set up with that because I didn't know beans about how to do it. So Jessica gets on one side of me and Jan gets on the other side, and they go to work on my computer and they're punching this, that, and the other, and I'm like this saying, well, what are you doing? No way I was going to keep up with that. And I'd say, write it down. So they got me monetized. That's what they call it, monetized. Did you ever hear that word before? No, that's new in my vocabulary. I'm learning a lot of new words in my old age that they're the words of the day. So this is all it's going to be for today. It's just a simple little video just to keep in touch, let you know I'm still here. And the sun's shining very pretty today. It had thunderstorms here and there last night, but I slept right through them. I can do that. I'm really good at sleeping through storms. So you take care and keep in touch. I'm having so much fun making so many new friends. I don't know quite how to describe it. That a woman age 87, when life is going downhill, and you know it's going downhill, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. What do? You do what I did. You do what my daughter and my granddaughter did for me. Get your channel on YouTube. I've got my channel on YouTube. And people laugh when they say, what is it? And I say, Chit Chat with Granny Pat. They just think that's the cutest thing. Oh, I think, oh my gosh, how could they choose that for me? Couldn't they come up with something rather elegant and posh instead of Chit Chat with Granny Pat? That's me. You can't miss me on YouTube. So tell your friends about me. Tell them to subscribe, and that I'm loving every comment that I read. I appreciate you. I love you dearly. Next to my family, you're next. So you have a good day, and keep it coming. Thank you.